Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear student teachers, Assalamu alaikum. I am Rashid Salim with lecture number 29 of Functional English 1. Lecture number 29 is about writing short book reviews. And this might not be very frequent, very common topic, but since we are teachers, we often have to read books and we often have to give maybe not a written book review, but we have to review the books that we have read. For all educated people, it is important to read book reviews. In fact, these days time is short. We are all busy. And before reading any book, I like to read the review by some good reviewer, and I only read the books that are recommended by my friends, or that after reading the review I decide whether I should read the book or not. So book reviews for me are really very important, and I think for all educated people they are. Writing a good book review is an art, and it comes only with practice. But today we are going to look at some tips and techniques that will help you write good book reviews, and if you keep on practicing, you will be able to write even professional book reviews. But before we dive deep into lecture number 29, let's have a quick look at what we learned in lecture number 28. In lecture number 28, we learned how to plan a simple presentation, a simple oral presentation. And if you can recall, at planning stage, we need to keep in mind the map, message, audience, and purpose of presentation. We also learned to keep in mind the time and tools available to us, and accordingly we need to format or structure our presentations. We also learned how to prepare the content. If we keep the audience in mind, if we know our message very well, and if we know the purpose clearly, it is usually easy to find the relevant stuff. We also learned how to organize the content. Normally, we use the signposts, and for signposts we used for various sections of the presentation we used various signposts. We also looked at some tips and techniques for delivering oral presentations, and we learned some effective ways of using visual aids in our presentations. So this is what we learned in lecture number 28. Now it is time to move ahead and look at the objectives of lecture number 29. In lecture number 29, since you know that we are going to write a book review, so we should be able to identify various kinds of review. A reviewing skill is a very common skill. Book review is just one such kind, but first we will have a broader look, and we'll set the context for book review. Then you will also read and analyze a book review. I'll give few examples, and we will read those examples and we will analyze in order to have an idea of the structure or the usual format of or the usual pattern of a book report, a book review. We'll also identify the essential elements of book review, so the things that we must include in a book review and the things that we can optionally include. And the real purpose is to make you be able to write a short book review. So after completing this lecture, if you have been attentive, if you have been really paying attention and really following the points, the tips and techniques that are given here, you should be able to write a book report of your own. So we move on now, and I would like to ask few questions first. What do you mean by review? What is a review? What comes to your mind when I use the word review? The word review, as you can easily imagine, is made up of two roots, re and view. Re means again. So review means to view something again, to look at something again. And why do we look at something again? In order to evaluate it, in order to assess it, in order to critically analyze it. So a review is a formal assessment of something, or it is an evaluation of a publication, a product, a service, a performance, or a company or organization. A publication could be a poem, it could be a book, it could be a short story, it could be a novel, it could be anything. It could be a report, it could be your thesis, it could be a textbook, a product. It could be any product, any industrial product. It could be a service, for example, teaching, or lawyers provide service, doctors provide service. It could be any service. It could be a performance, like a theatrical performance. It could be a film, it could be a concert, it could be a music performance. I mean, it could be any of those performances. Or it could be, you could review a company or an organization, etc. Okay, have you listened to or read a review lately? Lately means recently. Maybe you did, but as I told earlier, that very often I like to read book reviews because that gives me an idea. It helps me choose which books I should read. Okay, the final question is, have you ever written a review? Maybe not, maybe yes. Well, I often have to write review reports because I have been working with the curriculum wing, and nowadays curriculum and education has become a provincial subject, but earlier it used to be the federal subject. And I was a member of the National Review Committee, and I often had to review the textbooks for class 1 to class 12. In fact, I was also a member of the curriculum committee at ELTR, English Language Teaching Project, ELTR, English Language Teaching Reforms. ELTR is a subsection of or a section of HEC. So I often have to write textbook reviews as a member of the review committee. I don't know about you. All right. Okay, I forgot one thing. Let's have a quick look at that. A review may or may not include rating or grading. Usually, you know, when we look at the reviews, the purpose is to buy something. For example, if you want to buy a mobile phone, you can go on the net and you can review different mobile phones. And you can also look at their ratings, their gradings by the reviewers, and accordingly you can decide which device is good for you, which mobile phone is better for you. Similarly, if you are fond of reading books, you can find out what rating is given by the professional reviewers, and accordingly you can decide whether you should read it or not. Okay, we move on now, and we look at some review types. Well, review can be classified according to two main questions. One is what is reviewed, and second question is who is the reviewer. What is reviewed, accordingly you have a different name of the review. Earlier I said that I have been reviewing the textbook, so that is called textbook review. Because we review a textbook, it is called a textbook review. So if we review a book, it is called a book review. If we review a film, it is called a film review. If we review a concert or music, it is called concert review or a music review. If we review a software, it is called a software review. And literature review, when we are reviewing literature. But remember that the word literature here does not mean adab. Literature means written work. Usually when you are writing a thesis, a research thesis, you have to, one of the chapters that you have to include is called lit review or the literature review. What does it mean? It means that research means adding to the body of knowledge, adding something to the existing body of knowledge. So literature review actually gives an outlook of or an overview of the existing body of knowledge before you give your own research findings. Okay, so a review can be classified according to the thing which is being reviewed. Similarly, a review can sometimes be named after its reviewer. For example, there is the consumer review. If a company has made a product, before they launch it into the market or after they have launched it into the market, they want the feedback from the customers, from the consumers. They want a consumer's review. Then you have peer review. Earlier in lecture number 28, you learnt that how peers, that means how your equals, your colleagues, your class fellows, or people of the same status, how they can evaluate something, how they can evaluate your presentation, for example. And for that I had given a peer review chart or a peer review format. Now the lectures that I am recording here for you, they are edited and they are also reviewed by the faculty. They are also reviewed by the peers. Okay, now these are just some kinds of reviews. Actually there are so many of them that I can't even begin to talk about them. Now let's move on to reasons for reviews. Why do we write reviews? Well, a reviewing skill is used for adding value to the experience. Review is actually looking at an experience once again, and the reason could be to add value to the experience. Sometimes if we are doing something and we don't review it, we get stuck. But when we review it, we find out the reason, what's hindering, and we can remove that hurdle. Okay, another purpose of reviewing is achieving objectives. Very often when we are doing things, we forget the objectives, the targets, the goals, the aims. So when we review something, when we look at it from a distance, we can check how far we are achieving our objectives. One of the purposes of review is opening new perspectives. By perspective means a new way of looking at something. What happens is that When we are doing something for a long period of time, when we get used to something, we very often forget lots of things. So a newcomer comes with fresh insight, comes with new ideas, and gives us a new angle. Review can actually sometimes, when you look at it from a distance, it can give you a new perspective, a new angle, a new way of looking at it. Because while you are actually doing it, you might be in a different state of mind. But when you review it, you might come up with a new idea, altogether a new idea. Another purpose of review is developing observation and awareness. So it's not merely doing something or experiencing something. It is being aware of what we are doing and reflecting on it and actively observing what we are doing. It also means caring. Before we sell a product, before we perform in front of the audience, we need to review it. This means that we care for our audience. We don't want them to be bored. We don't want them to lose quality. Okay, one of the reasons why we review is to encourage self-expression. When I read a new book, I want to review it, maybe informally. I want to tell my friends what this book was about. I want to give self-expression. I want to express my feelings, my impressions about that book. So it also gives us an opportunity to give self-expression. Using success is another purpose of reviewing. If we review something, we review what made it successful. For example, there had been a film, if there had been a film which was a hit, if there is a book which is the bestseller, we can review it in order to find out the elements that made it successful. And we can use those elements to be successful ourselves. Like caring earlier, review can also be used for providing support, like for providing customer support. If there are any flaws, if there are any mistakes, we can actually help the people, or we can give them the support. It also empowers people. It gives power to the people. When they review, they can take certain decisions on the basis of that. Now we move on to our today's focus. You know, we are not going to learn all kinds of reviews. We are just going to look at one kind of review, and that is a book review. So what is a book review, basically? An academic book review is a formal paper that works to describe, analyze, and evaluate a particular source. Now, I want you to pay attention to these words, describe. Describe probably means that it summarizes the main points. It gives the main events, the main characters, the main ideas expressed in the book. But then we also analyze it. By analyzing, we mean that we identify various elements, and then we give our own opinion about it. How something is constituted, how something is framed, how something is made. That is called an analysis. Evaluating means assessing, making a formal assessment, telling its value, how effective it is, how impressive it is. That is called to evaluate. As well as to provide detailed evidence to support this analysis and evaluation. Now, book review is not merely giving our personal opinion it is to give evidence to support our analysis and evaluation. If we have analyzed a book, and if we have evaluated a book and we say that this book is a rubbish, or this book is worth reading, we need to give the evidence why we think so. We need to support our argument. Further, a review often explains how the book compares to other works on similar topics. This is again an important thing. Merely summarizing the contents of a book is not enough. We need to compare it with the books of similar format. For example, if it is a travelogue, we can compare it with other travelogues. If it is a novel, we can compare it with other recent novels, contemporary novels, and we can tell how it is similar to other novels or how it is different from other novels. So comparing it with other works or other similar topics or other genres is actually important aspect of book review. Or illuminate the contribution the book makes to our understanding of a historical topic. So what change the book has brought to our lives, or why this book is important. Answering these questions is part of a book review. So book review is basically summarizing, analyzing, and evaluating, and comparing, and also making a statement whether this book is worth reading or not. If yes, providing evidence why it is so. If no, again providing evidence. So writing a book review is an academic task, and it involves lots of things in it. But first of all, let me differentiate between a book report and a book review. Very often teachers ask us to write a book review or a book report, but these are two slightly different assignments. Both of them are based on a book, but they are different. In a book report, you merely summarize the book. So you mainly give the main points, the main characters, the main events, the main ideas expressed in a book. Whereas in a book review, you don't simply give the summary. Along with the summary, you also analyze the events, you analyze the characters, you analyze the plot and everything in it. Similarly, a book report involves a personal response, a personal preference, whereas a book review has a reasoned argument. You have to give evidence to support your argument. So these are the two major differences between a book report and a book review. A book report could be simply a summary and your personal response, whether you liked it or not, your personal preference. Whereas a book review is summarizing and also analyzing and giving reasons and evidence. If you are assessing it, if you are giving evaluation, your evaluation must be based on some hard facts, on some solid evidence. जी यहाँ हम break लेते हैं छोटी सी. Okay, now writing a book review is a process, and like all writing processes, it involves 3 steps, and they are pre-writing, writing, and post-writing. We'll talk about these 3 steps one by one. So before you write a book review, what are you supposed to do? Of course, the first thing you need to do is read the book carefully and critically. One of the mistakes that we commit is we start writing a review without even reading the book. Or without reading it carefully and critically. Sometimes what happens is that we read the book maybe 2 years ago, and now we think since we have read it already, so we can write a review on it. No, we need to reread it. We need to read it afresh in order to write a review about it. And we need to read it carefully and critically. Remember that we have to analyze it, we have to assess it, we have to evaluate it. We are not just going to summarize it. So we have to critically analyze it. And by critically analyzing, it doesn't mean that we only give the negative statements. Critical appreciation means appreciating the good points in it and criticizing the bad points in it. So critically reading means that finding out the good and bad points in it, not merely reading it, but also giving our statement and forming our opinion whether this book is worth reading, what are the good points, what are the bad points. Okay, so the first step in pre-reading is to read the book carefully and critically. The second step is to take notes in your own words. This is really important. Don't just think that I have understood everything and now you start writing a book review, because it is academic book review and you have to be careful of whatever you are writing. You are judging something after all, and when you make a judgment you must be really very careful, and you note down the things as an evidence and the main points that you want to include in your book review. And second thing is that you should write these notes in your own words. Book review is not just a collection of quotations taken from the book, right? Remember that you are analyzing and evaluating it. You are not merely summarizing it. But even if you are summarizing, you should summarize it in your own words. You should paraphrase it in your own words. That's why I have included it, because it is an important writing skill. As a language learner, you should take notes while you are reading it, and if you read it earlier, now while you are rereading it, you can take notes, and these notes must be in your own words. They will help you later on writing an effective book review. And as you read, make sure to consider the following questions. Of course, you can ask many questions, but at least you can keep these questions in mind. For example, you should ask, what is the central question or issue that the book is addressing? Whether the book is about global warming, whether the book is about slavery, whether it is about poverty, whether it is about nuclear defense or defense strategy of a country. So what is it about? Or whether it is about different social, political, economic issues. Is it about deforestation? Is it about energy crisis? Is it about building new dams? If it is non-fiction. If it is fiction, again, you know, it deals with certain issues. Does it deal with, for example, with some cultural aspects? Does it deal with injustice? Does it deal with cruelty? Does it deal with war? So what central question it addresses? What's the book's argument or thesis? This is important. You remember in argumentative essay, we talked a great deal about the thesis statement. Thesis statement, we learned, is a statement that gives our clear stance, our standpoint, our opinion about a topic, about a debatable topic. So every book has a standpoint. What political stance does the book take? Is it in favor of democracy, or is it in favor of dictatorship? So merely identifying or finding out the main question or the main issue with which the book deals is not enough. We need to find out the writer's point of view, the writer's stance, and that's an important point before even we write the book review. Okay, we also need to consider other questions such as how is the book organized to support this thesis? Does it use chronological order? Is it organized thematically? Is it organized logically? How are the chapters ordered? What pattern has been used? Okay, in pre-writing stage, we are going to read the book carefully and critically. You are going to take notes in your own words, and you are going to ask these questions. Let's continue. We also need to make an evaluation. We need to form our own opinion. We need to make a judgment. We need to assess this thesis statement. As you read the book and review your notes on it, consider the following questions. So in order to evaluate, you can ask these questions. How and what does this work help us to understand about a time period or issue? So if it is about slavery, how does it help us to understand slavery, or whether it helps us to understand slavery or not? What types of evidence does the author draw on to support his or her argument? So what evidence has been put forward? We need to take note of those evidence, and we also need to evaluate whether these evidence are strong enough or they are weak. Does the book do what the author claims that it will do? Every book has a purpose. Books are written to entertain, to inform, to explain, to teach, to instruct, to clarify. And usually the authors make a claim about their book. If they say that their book is to entertain, does their book entertain or not? So you are going to judge it. Are there other types of evidence that the author fails to acknowledge or ignores? So if it is not a comprehensive list, if the author has missed some some evidence which you think is crucial, so the writer doesn't acknowledge it or simply ignores it, what are those evidences? What theoretical perspective does the author work from? How does this shape or affect his or her argument? You know, every book has a framework. There are different ways of looking at issues and questions. You can have a Marxist perspective of looking at political economy. You can have an elitist perspective. You can have a religious perspective. You can have a secular perspective. There could be 100 different ways of looking at things, and usually there is a theoretical background, a theoretical underpinning that explains our thesis or our argument. So we need to understand that theoretical framework, the underlying theoretical framework, and we also need to look at how effective that theoretical framework has been in achieving the goals. Okay, the next question you should ask is, how is this book similar to or different from other books on the topic? Why are they similar or different? Usually we compare books of the same genre. If it is a novel, you can compare it with other novels. If it is a short story, you can compare it with other short stories. So we can compare in order to find out the differences or the similarities between them. And one question is, are you convinced by the book? Are you impressed by the book? Does it move you? Does it affect you in some way? If it does, why? If it doesn't, why not? So these are some of the pre-writing questions that you need to ask, the steps that you need to take before you even start writing a book review. Now we move on to the second stage of writing a book review, and that is writing itself. And for writing, the important thing is looking at the important sections that you should include. The writing stage includes the structure of a book review. Before we can write it, we need to know the usual structure, the various sections that are included in a book review. So number one is introduction. Like all good pieces of writing, we need to have an introduction of a book review. And usually it is very short and direct. You don't have very lengthy introductions. And basically essentially it has two elements in it. One is called background and the second is called a thesis. So your book review basically has a background and a thesis in it. And background could be historical, it could be historiographical background. In other words, background is to give the background is to set it in its context, to put it in the context. So you can give the time and place where you want to place this book. Similarly, the thesis. Somewhere in your introduction, you have to give a clear evaluation of the book. For example, whether you think this book is worth reading or not, whether you think this book is entertaining, whether this book is informative, whether this book is rubbish. Whatever thesis you are going to make, you are going to clearly express that thesis statement right in the introduction. Your thesis, your thesis should have at least these main components. What the main argument of the book is, whether the book is pro-capitalism or whether the book is pro-socialism. Your evaluation of the book as its strengths and contributions or weaknesses and shortcomings. So you give a brief summary of the weaknesses and shortcomings and strengths or contributions of the book. Why and or in what ways you think the work demonstrates these strengths and weaknesses. So how does it, or why does this work elaborate, or why does this work demonstrate these strengths or weaknesses? For example, you can say that this work of this travelogue is very weak because the technique which is used in order to give accounts of events is in the form of a diary. So it is weak as a travelogue because it is written in the form of a diary and not very interesting. Okay, so first part of your book review is an introduction in which you give a background and a thesis. Now here is an example. Look at this example. This is a very short book review, and I'm not going to read it out to you. Instead, I want to give you 2 minutes to read it out, and then we'll analyze it and we'll see what various parts are included in it. Okay, you see, in the first sentence, in fact it is just one sentence, but up till here, the semicolon, the writer clearly states or summarizes what Jones has written, and also makes a comment here, successfully argues. So she has been, in her work, Jones has been successful. And what was her argument? Her argument was that slave women in the American South had a different experience than did male slaves. Then you give an explanation how it has been different, how this experience has been different. And the second part of this sentence, after the semicolon, it deals with your evaluation. And you say, it is well supported, so the evidence is good enough. She has examined the little studied group, so it is a valuable contribution. But you at the same time also say that it has failed to acknowledge the importance of religion, because she ignored this aspect. Therefore, this is a crucial area of gender difference within the slave experience. This is your evaluation of the book. So you can see that the word successfully argues, then the argument is given here, then the details of the arguments are given here, then you give the strengths, and finally you give the weaknesses of this book. So this is an example A. Let's look at another example, example B. And again, I want to give you 2 minutes to read it out, critically read it before we analyze it. Okay, again you see the writer first gives the name of, the reviewer gives the name of the writer, and then he states the argument here. This is the argument. Okay, and then he makes a judgment, an assessment, and he says that argument is supported with detailed evidence. But he looks at the weakness here and says that the limited agency that indigenous people maintained throughout their experience, and what is the result of this failure? He states the result, and ultimately he also says that the book has failed to achieve something, failed to explain it. So this structure is very much like the previous structure. An argument is stated, and you say that it is well supported and detailed evidence, but then the reviewer also points out some weaknesses in this work. So this is another example. Let's analyze another example, the last one, example C. And this time the name of the writer is William, and reviewer tells us that this book is about Black Death, which affected cities more than it affected the countryside. And here is the statement, the judgment, whether this work ignores the secondary effects of the Black Death on rural populations, but at the same time it appreciates that Williams has been innovative in the use of artistic and literary sources that he has used as evidence in order to make his argument more convincing. And this book is a valuable or significant contribution to the field, because mostly people have been working on demographic and statistical evidence, but this is a valuable addition in that field. So this example C gives us another way of analyzing and evaluating a book. So after looking at these three examples, you must have realized that book review is not merely giving a summary. Instead, it is stating your own opinion, forming your own opinion, and then talking about the main thesis, the main argument that the book has, and whether the book is able to successfully provide evidence for that thesis or not. Okay, so far we have looked at three examples, but remember that we are looking at three steps of the writing process. We have already looked at pre-writing. Now we are looking at the writing process, and in the writing process we are looking at the structure. And I have given you these three examples in order to analyze the structure of a book review. Okay. Now we move on to the second section of your book review writing, and that is summary of key arguments. Once you have identified the arguments or the main thesis of a book, you will give a summary of the key arguments. So after the introduction, you would generally provide a brief summary or an overview of the book. And remember that you have to be really very careful because you are not simply repeating or just reproducing the sentences from the book itself. You are writing it in your own words. Step back means that you view it from distance. Don't simply reproduce the sentences or phrases used in the book itself. Instead, write it in your own words. And here, you know, the notes that you took in pre-writing stage are going to be really very crucial, very helpful. Okay, at this stage, you might like to make comments about the book's thesis, or how it is similar or different from other historians' work on a similar topic. How is it organized? And what are the major arguments? And finally, what types of evidence are presented? You know, there are different kinds of evidence that people put forward in order to support their argument, whether it is an example, whether it is a statistical figure has been provided, whether it has been explained logically. So there are different kinds of evidence that people often use. We need to find out what evidences have been used and what kind of evidence has been used in order to support those theses or in order to support those stances. Okay, the third section of your report is going to be evaluation or the analysis. This section should constitute the bulk of your review. So this is the major portion. And here you need to explain and develop the evaluation made in your thesis. So the evaluation that you made in introduction, you are going to explain it here. Okay, make sure to use examples and quotations. Now, if your professor allows quotations, well, I am your professor here and I allow quotations. In order to prove your standpoint, you can make quotations and examples from the book to illustrate and prove your assessment of the work. For example, if your thesis argues that the work provides a careful and detailed examination of a topic, you should point toward places in the book where it does so. Similarly, if you argue that the work fails to recognize a particular perspective, give examples of places in the text that you think would have benefited from attention to that perspective. In other words, your evaluation is going to be based on examples and quotations and evidence. And you will refer to the actual lines or places in the text in order to support your viewpoint. Okay, the next section of your report is the last section, and it is called the conclusion. Well, your conclusion should provide a succinct summation of your review. Well, these are just difficult words. Let me explain. Succinct means brief. Summation means summary. So your conclusion gives a brief summary of your review. Overall, what does this work contribute to its field? This is important. You ask this question, what does this book contribute to its field? If it is a maths book, what does it contribute in the field of maths? What does it contribute in the fields of technology, in the field of sports, in the field of education? What limitations does it possess? Whether it is limited by time, by area, by place, what are the limitations or restrictions? Does it suggest interesting avenues for future research? If it is a research book, usually when you are answering one question, you come up with 100 more. So it opens avenues for new research. When you are trying to answer one question, in fact, you leave so many unanswered statements, and it paves the way for future research. How does your analysis of the book help readers to understand the time period being studied, or how historians have understood that period? Well, this is particularly if you are reviewing a history book. But otherwise, you will analyze how the book helps the readers understand their thesis, or understand their main question, or their main idea, or their main concern. Okay, so this is going to be the conclusion of your book review. Now, finally, I would like you to look at common pitfalls. Common pitfalls means common traps, common mistakes. So when you are writing a review, please avoid these common pitfalls. Sometimes we merely summarize the book rather than analyzing it. Remember that if you are just summarizing a book and you are not analyzing or evaluating or assessing work, it's not really a review. It's not really a book review. Another mistake that we make is that we start writing a research paper rather than a book review. So make sure that you don't start writing a research paper, because a book review is a different kind of writing. Writing a paper that does not reflect a thorough reading of the book. Right? Very often it happens that we have not read the book that we are reviewing, and therefore we start writing irrelevant things. That's not required. So there is a common pitfall, and that you must avoid. You should write it in such a way that it should give a clear indication that you have thoroughly read the book, you have critically analyzed the book. Okay, another common mistake is not having a clear method of organization. If you are not using a particular method, if you have not organized your book review in a proper manner, you will simply confuse your reader. So this is another pitfall that you must avoid. You must well structure your book review. You must frame it and organize it well. The last mistake that we often commit, I would rather like to call it a blunder that we commit, is that we rely on personal opinion rather than reasoned judgments. Remember that when you are writing a book review, you are giving a judgment, and like a judge, you have to be really very careful, because when you are judging others, they start judging you. There is a quotation in English, and it says, "Judge not, so that ye may not be judged." So don't judge others, because they will start judging you. The same is the case here. Well, when you are writing a book review, you have to judge. You have to make an assessment. You have to evaluate it. But you have to be careful. You have to provide evidence for your judgment. Otherwise, merely writing your personal opinion that I don't like it, I favor that better than this one, is not really, shouldn't be a part of the book review. Instead, you should give reasoned judgments. You should provide hard statistical figures and logical evidence to prove your standpoint. Otherwise, there will be quite a grave injustice to the book for which you are writing a review. Okay, so far we have looked at the 3 steps that are involved in writing a book review. We learned that we started with pre-writing. Then we learned about the writing stage, and at post-writing stage you need to review your draft 2-3 times. You can review it, you can edit it once for the content, once for the organization, and once for the mechanics. And mechanics include spelling, punctuation, grammar, and you can also edit it for style or for the style of your book review. So these are the 3 stages of writing a book review. And after looking at these tips and techniques, and after looking at some examples, and after analyzing these book reviews, I think it will be easier for you to write your own report, your own book review. Actually, I have provided 2 sample book reviews along with this lecture. You can go to the hands out section and you can download those 2 book reviews, and they should help you. You should read them thoroughly, you should analyze them, and they will help you write your own book review. Okay, now we move on to the practice situation. What are you going to do? You are going to read a short fiction in English, and by fiction I mean that you are going to write a short novel, a novelette, or a short story, जिसको उर्दू में अफसाना या novelette कहते हैं. You are going to read one short fiction in English, and if you have already read it, you are going to reread it so that you can write a review about it. Keep it in mind that you are not reading it merely for entertainment purposes. Instead, you are going to write a review on it. So that means you have to keep in mind all the points that I made earlier. At pre-writing stage, when you are reading a piece of fiction, you need to take your own notes in your own words. And you need to ask certain questions like what's the plot, what are the main characters. Well, in fiction, it's not really going to be the thesis statement, it's going to be the plot, the main problem, how that problem has been solved, and who are the characters, what is the time and place, what is the setting. You remember the elements of narrative? So you should look at the elements of narrative when you are reading a short fiction. Elements of narrative include settings, which include time and space, time and place. It also includes characters. It also includes characters. Who are the main characters? Who are the minor characters, and what is their role in action in the story. And then we come to action or plot, and you know that in plot we have a problem, it reaches climax, and then it is resolved either in the form of a comedy or a tragedy. And here you can evaluate whether how realistically that problem has been resolved. Alright, if you are not going to read something new, if you are going to try writing a review for something that you have already read, even then you have to reread it. Remember, you have to read it fresh in order to write a review. Okay, you are also going to download the book review template which I have provided in the handout section, and you can use this book review template as a guideline. It will give you what different sections you can include in your book review. And finally, you will write a short book review following the directions that have been given in this lecture. That means you need to keep in mind all the tips and techniques, all the points that you have learned in this lecture. Alright, now like before, I want to emphasize here that don't simply go through this lecture, watch it, and think to yourselves that now you understand how to write a book, you don't need to write a book, how to write a book review. And you know that I always emphasize that practice situation is the most important part of our lecture. So don't think that you have watched the lecture and you understand how to write a book review. In fact, these guidelines, these tips and techniques, they are of no use, or they are of little value if you don't practice it. And only practice will make you a proficient user of English language. And maybe in the beginning you won't be able to write a very good book review, but if you keep on trying, you will learn it, and gradually you will see that your art will be polished and you will start writing professional book reviews. And who knows, maybe after a few days or after a few months, you start sending your book reviews to professional reviewers. Let's hope so. Okay, with this we come to the end of lecture number 29. Now I want you to have a quick look at the summary of lecture number 29. In lecture number 29, we learned how to identify various kinds of review. And we learned that a review can be classified according to the thing reviewed and according to the reviewer. Then we looked at few sample reviews. We looked at example A, example B, and example C, and we analyzed the book review. We identified essential elements of a book review by looking at various sections that it should include, like it should include introduction, and within introduction it should have background, and it should have thesis. And then we looked at the other sections of a book review, which include the summary, your evaluation, and conclusion. And finally, in the practice situation, I gave you a task to write a short book review. And remember, before you write that book review, you should download the sample 1 and 2, because in this lecture I have used the samples based on non-fiction. Whereas in the handouts section you have fiction, fictional books have been reviewed. So they are going to help you if you are going to read a fiction, as I advised in the practice situation. But if you want to write a book review on a non-fiction book, it's up to you. I have given advice on both. You can use either of these. Well, with this we come to the end of lecture number 29. Hope that after viewing this lecture you will be you will become proficient in English language, and you will be able to write better book reviews. Thank you very much.